thing real quick. Now listen to what I want you to do before you do it. Get yourselves into groups of 2 or 3 and stand up and face each other. Okay? When I count to 3, do that. 1, 2, 3. Go. Facing each other, and I know what happened is you were really jealous because some of you didn't get to have a chance to have your picture made that way. So what I want you to do when I count to 3 is stick your tongue through your cheek and make your eyes just as exaggerated as you can, all right? 1, 2, 3, go. Not everybody did it. Those people are 2 mortgage bankers didn't do it. We're going to give you one more chance. When I count to 3, I want you to stick your tongue through your cheek, make your eyes just as exaggerated as you can, and this time say the word tongue-in-cheek view, because I'm going to be doing a tongue-in-cheek view of the servicing center. You want to say tongue-in-cheek view. Now it's going to sound like this. Kind of this. Because you're going to have your tongue out, okay? 1, 2, 3, go. Yes. You look ridiculous today. We're really going to talk about the history of training. Oh, yeah. Since I've been here, so that's only 3 years. I recently celebrated my 3-year anniversary here. And when I first came here, we had one orientation course. That was the only classroom course. We had some TPT courses, a few of those, and a couple of service teams. And if you look at the brochure you have in your chair, this is the training program that you have today. And so we've come a long way, and that's thanks to so many of you who spent your time and energy and given quality work and support to the training process here. When I say that we haven't had an orientation course, well, what's an orientation course? So that's the course where we teach new associates information and knowledge that they need. Like, don't expect to be promoted right away. You probably want to wait to start your promotion campaign 3-4 days. The first course we developed here was another orientation course. It was called Introduction to Mortgage Servicing. Introduction to Mortgage Servicing. We followed that with getting to know mortgage servicing a little bit better. And finally, kissing mortgage servicing right on the lips. I thought Dennis was going to be in Buffalo today. Early on, I had the opportunity to go to Dennis's staff meeting. And these meetings, they're just really amazing. These are meetings in which the division managers come and they throw out really large, impressive numbers and all these percentages. And man, I was really impressed. But after a couple of meetings, I pulled Bob Thornton aside in private and I said, Bob, how do you all come up with all those really impressive numbers? No, Joanne, you're not going to understand this because I'm a mortgage banker and it's pretty complicated. And I did this really big study in which I wrote a series of numbers down on a notepad until I found one that looked just about right. When I first got here, we continued with TPT. We now have 72 TPT courses, and you ought to be real proud of yourself for that. Why did we develop TPT? It's job instruction training, and it's so that associates can know what their job is and if it involves any duties. If it involves any duties. TPT is really structured. Everything has to be just so. And one of the things we put into TPT is a glossary of terms. Always have to have a glossary. And I just brought a sample today from the technology area so you can see what a glossary might be like. Bug. Cute little humorous term for why the computer had a $3 billion check sent to a mortgage or a foreclosure proceeding. Hardware, where the software people will say the problem is. Software, where the hardware people will say the problem is. And my personal favorite, user. Now this is a term that computer professionals use when they really mean idiot. Joel's afraid to laugh. bench in a private spot while you're speaking, and you don't want to scratch it with everybody looking. So what you do is you create a distraction, and you point in some direction and you say something that never happens, because surely everyone will look like the auditors are laughing. Because I've seen those people in the hall, and I don't think they do. Of course, you'll have to deal with when everybody looks back at you and they're confused because they didn't find what you were talking about. But you just simply say, I must have been mistaken. Oh, I didn't know you were coming too. Gary Benton. Y'all look, Gary Benton. Oh, I must have been mistaken. I told you I was going to make a fool of it. Never end a sentence with a preposition. Preposition are those short words like off, to, with, on, exacerbate, those words. And the reason is you'd be violating a rule of grammar. Wrong. Please send in your past due payment on account of we don't want to hack nobody's limbs off. Right. On account of we don't want to hack off nobody's limbs. And even better, on account of we don't want to have to hack off nobody's limbs with a chainsaw. Grammar rule number 2. Avoid dangling participles. I've always thought this is a crazy, crazy rule. I don't know anybody who's really comfortable when their participle is dangling. When to use, people have asked me when to use who and when to use whom. Okay, we use who when you want to know the answer to something. Like, say, for example, one of your coworkers comes up and they say, you will never guess who got fired yesterday. And you want to say, who? And when do you use whom? When you go to England. Well, what's going on around here now? Joel Carty in Technology Services is changing the drive space. And I was so glad to hear that because I've had trouble maneuvering ever since they built this parking garage out. User, idiot. Did you know that Luana Fitzgerald has become a floater in mortgage accounting? Imagine that, just like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day balloon. And get this, Bob Thornton's new project is a daisy research, and I didn't even know you enjoyed flowers. The brochure that you have shows what we're doing at the Louisville Servicing Center, and all over the Mortgage Corporation there is training that's personalized to the particular sites, and all that is headed up by Wendy Steerwalk. And Wendy she insists that we be carefully client-centered, that we treat you like our business partners, and that you are our customer, and we treat you with kid gloves. And even if we have issues to work out, we're to be painfully kind. And you might have noticed that from Kathleen's email that she did recently. Please forgive me. I apologize profusely for the blood droplets on the carpet in the training room. They were caused by the gangrene, which got to the bed sores I developed while waiting for you to show up for training. Wendy's great. She sent us a gift last week, and it was a laser pointer. It was really neat. It came in the mail. Iva's really efficient, so Iva opens it up, reads the warnings, puts the batteries in, and then I come out and I'm